Learning objectives. At the end of this topic, you will be able to list and describe the different types of movements observed in animals, locate joints in the human body and describe their role in movement and locomotion, identify and describe the parts and adaptive features in animals that are involved in movement and locomotion. Introduction. Movement is the most important feature of life. The movement of living beings from one place to the other is referred to as locomotion. Animals move from one place to the other to find food, for shelter, and to keep themselves safe from the enemies. Different animals move in different manners, like a cow walks with the help of a leg. Snake crawls with their body. Birds and insects fly with the help of wings. Plants being attached to the soil by means of roots, they cannot move from one place to another. But being stationary, they have movements in their roots that move towards soil and branches moving towards sunlight. So, how does a human being move? Different movements are performed by human beings like running, walking, etc. Human beings have the ability to move different parts of the body with the help of joints in their skeletal system. Joints. An overview. Bones provide support to our body. Say for example, a shirt is supported by a hanger to stand upright, without which it falls down. Human body without bones are like mud that are loose without any shape. The place where two bones are joined together are called as joints. We can bend and rotate our body parts around the joints. Example, knee, elbow, wrist, neck, etc. Basically, there are two types of joints. 1. Movable joint. 2. Fixed joint. Movable joint. Movable joints are those that enable the body parts to move either in one or many directions. Basically, there are three types of movable joints. 1. Ball and socket joints. 2. Pivotal joint. 3. Hinge joint. Ball and socket joints. Have you seen a person who swims in water by moving his hands? How could he swim with such ease? It is made possible by ball and socket joints. In ball and socket joints, the small, round-shaped structure of the bone is found attached to the hollow cavity part of the other bone. This allows maximum rotation in all directions. Through the ball and socket joints, maximum rotation of the arms is made possible. Pivotal joint. Head is the only part which does not move in our body. It is the neck that moves and head follows its direction. This is made possible by means of pivotal joint. A pivotal joint consists of a cylindrical bone that is enclosed within a ring through which the movement of the neck is made possible. Through the pivotal joint, the head can be moved from side to side, up to down, and backward to front. Hinge joint. Look at the person doing his exercise. His arm bends at the elbow and the legs bend at the knee. This movement is made possible with a hinge joint. The hinge of the door that enables movement only in one direction. The hinge joint at the knee allows the legs to bend, and the hinge joint at the elbow joins the upper arm with the lower arm. Fixed joints. Fixed joints are the joints that remain immovable in the human body. For example, when you notice your jaws in the mouth, only the lower jaw moves while speaking, whereas the upper jaw remains fixed, hence it is a fixed joint. Few fixed joints in human body include 1. Skull. 2. Backbone and shoulder bones. 3. Rib cage. 4. Pelvic bones. Skull. A skull is made up of a number of bones that are joined together to give shape to our head and face. It consists of cranial and facial bones. The cranial bones are the hardest part of the skull that protect our brain. Facial bones protect the sensory organs like eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. Backbone and shoulder bones. The backbone or spine is also called as vertebral column, found attached to the skull. It protects the spinal cord, which is an extension of the brain, and they're extremely delicate. Vertebral column is made of 33 irregular small bones. Each bone is hollow at the center through which the spinal cord passes through. The bone that is found at the side of the neck is called clavicle, which is attached to the back portion of the shoulder with scapula. These bones frame the shoulder bones that are helpful in the movement of the arm. Rib cage. The bone that is present at the center of the chest is called as sternum. The sternum is attached to the vertebral column by means of 12 pairs of bow-shaped bones called as ribs, and together they're called as rib cage. The rib cage protects the heart and the lungs. The last two ribs at the back remain free without being attached to the sternum. These ribs are called as floating ribs. Pelvic bones. The pelvic bones are those that are present below the stomach. These bones are 3 in number that are fused together. The 2 bones are joined to the vertebral column near the hip region, hence this forms the pelvic girdle. Cartilages and muscles. Cartilages. The additional part of the skeletal system, which is neither too hard as bones nor too soft, is referred to as cartilage. The cartilage is a soft tissue that is found at the ends of the bones. It prevents the bones from grinding against each other and also acts as a shock absorber. For example, the upper part of the human ears are not literally made of bones. They're made of hard, flexible structures called cartilages. Muscles. Have you ever wondered how do joints move? Joints cannot bring movement on their own. They need the help of muscles to complete their action. There are about 656 muscles in a human body. Muscles work in pairs and bring about movement by contracting and lengthening. For example, the muscles of biceps contract when the lower arm is raised up. At this time, the tricep muscle relaxes. When the lower arm is brought to its original position, the tricep muscles contract while the bicep muscle relaxes. Movement of the animals. Unlike human beings, certain animals do not have bones to undergo locomotion. Different animals move in different manner. Let us see locomotion in various animals. Click on the animals to know more. Earthworm. An earthworm does not have bones, and the body of an earthworm is made up of a number of segments. The lower side of the body is made up of tiny hair-like bristles that gives grip on the surface of the ground. Due to the contraction of the muscles, when the earthworm moves, the front part becomes long and thin, and the rear part becomes short and thick. The repetition of contraction and expansion of muscles enables the earthworm to move. Its body secretes a slimy substance that helps its movement. Cockroach. The body of the cockroach is divided into head, thorax, and the abdomen. It has 3 pairs of legs that help in walking and to run fast. The body of the cockroach is covered with a hard skeleton and has 2 pairs of wings near its breast. It can fly for a very less distance. Snail. The body of the snail is unsegmented and soft in nature. Snails have a shell accompanied by a pair of tentacles holding the eye spots at the tips. The locomotion in snail is accomplished using a flat foot that produces a slimy substance called the mucus. The spots of the mucus are left behind when it crawls on the surface. The shell is dragged along with the foot as it cannot move on its own. Fish. Fishes live in water and they have streamlined body that helps them to swim in water. They are characterized by tail and fins in their body that enable them to move. They have 3 sets of fins like the dorsal fin, pelvic fin, and anal fin that balances their body, preventing them from toppling down. The pectoral fin helps the fish to move slow. Snake. The body of the snake is divided into 3 as head, trunk, and tail. They have a very long backbone and thin muscles that are connected to the ribs, backbone, and skin. Snakes do not have legs but have tough scales at the underside of the body. With the help of ribs, muscles, and scales, the snakes undergo locomotion and they move in a wavy manner. Birds. Most of the birds fly in air and walk on land. Few birds like duck can even swim in water. Birds generally have a streamlined body with hollow bones that make them feel light in the weight. The bony parts and the forelimb are replaced in the form of wings made of feathers. They have powerful shoulders and chest muscles that enable them to move their wings up and down. Summary. Let's summarize the topic. The movement of living beings from one place to another is referred as locomotion. The place where 2 bones are joined together are called as joints. Movable joints are those that enables the body parts to move either in one or many directions. In ball and socket joints, the small, round-shaped structure of the bone is found attached to the hollow cavity part of the other bone. A pivotal joint consists of a cylindrical bone that is enclosed within a ring through which the movement of the neck is made possible. The hinge joint at the knee allows the legs to bend, and the hinge joint at the elbow joins the upper arm with the lower arm. Fixed joints are joints that remain immovable in the human body. A skull is made up of a number of bones that are joined together to give shape to our head and face. The backbone or spine is also called as vertebral column, found attached to the skull. Sternum is attached to the vertebral column by means of 12 pairs of bow-shaped bones called as ribs, and together they are called as rib cage. The pelvic bones are those that are present below the stomach. The additional parts of the skeletal system, which are neither too hard as bones nor too soft, are referred to as cartilages. Muscles work in pairs and bring about movement by contracting and lengthening. Unlike the human beings, certain animals do not have bones to undergo locomotion.